Hi, Chapter 18, Part 2. And he was flying amongst them in that astral body, so close he could even taste the stars burning in space. Smoky, fiery, sweet and strong, the flavours sparkled on his tongue like Zoko, intoxicating. Focus, he told himself fiercely. Don't get distracted. He braced himself and then he asked the question, Astrolabe, please show me routes to the nearest planet. A line of blazing silver light shot out from one of the stars, then another and another, and now even more and more lines were shooting out of more and more stars, jumping up, joining up into spirals and webs, swirling away in every direction to infinity, so fast it made Lucky's head spin and his stomach lurch. Even now he knew what they were. These lines of light terrified him. They wouldn't stop branching out again and again, making endless dizzying patterns that he couldn't keep up with, disorientating him, hurting his head and making him giddy. I can't think straight, he said. I can't breathe. No, don't panic. He forced himself to think of Bixa, though the panic was rising higher and higher. At the thought of her, sticking her tongue out, threatening to kick his ass, calling him a moon brain, he couldn't help but smile, and as he smiled the panic ceased and fell away. It's working, he thought. How strange. Lucky made himself look at the lines of silver light again. He chose one of them at random, ignored all the others. He concentrated all his attention on this single line and moved his astral body along it. Infinite pathways opened up around him. Everywhere he looked, he saw all the directions he could go, every single one spanning the stars in a dizzying rush of information. It was so hard to hold it together, but he forced himself to keep moving. And as he moved, gradually the infinite spiralling view started to seem more familiar, less dizzying. He didn't feel so scared of it anymore. I can do this, he thought, picking up speed. He leaped across to another line of light and followed that one through space for a while. He guessed he was barely skimming the surface of its potential, but for the first time he knew he was using the astrolabe properly. For now he was becoming aware of a silvery sound surrounding him with waves of power, the very same sound he dreamed about. Right here in the astrolabe he could hear the stars singing, vast, echoing, galactic, oceanic, the harmonies singing out as they called to him through space. Lucky focused his mind and reached out to the song of the stars. It seemed to grow even stronger and nearer, as if the astrolabe was amplifying it. And then, at long last, he began to hear the words coming through, loud and clear. Do not fear us, we will help you learn to fly. Ah, and it was wonderful. The idea that these great spirits not only accepted his presence, but wanted to help him. It sent a shiver of joy through his whole being. But it lasted only a moment, because now, behind the songs of the stars, he started to hear something else coming through. Some kind of interference, like the crackle of static on a vid screen, or the buzz of shifting frequencies on a comm. He heard snatches of other songs, very different, fragments of strange, sad songs, echoing across infinity. Cannot stop it, cannot destroy it, cannot defeat it. Lucky had no idea where these other songs came from, or what their words meant, but they filled him with a sense of dread that was almost overwhelming. He shut them out. Whatever they were nothing to do with him. He turned his mind away from them and back to the task at hand, finding his father. He focused every ounce of determination. Astrolabe, he asked it, please show me where my father is. And then, before he could stop himself, he was hurtling on the lines of light through space, totally out of control. Faster and faster, further and further, spiralling all the way to the edge of the map, and then over the edge and off the map, and... No! He gasped as he fell out of the astrolabe, fell hard and crashed to the ground. Gravity smashed back into him full force. He felt a grinding crunch as his mind snapped back into his body, his useless, clumsy body. Not that perfect, weightless body he'd just been in. Lucky opened his eyes and looked up. He was back in the Sunfire's main cabin. Behind him on the floor, the astrolabe's silver lights winked out, its dials ground to a halt, and they had flipped inside out again. They had twisted and turned over so they appeared to be pointing outside the astrolabe again. He started to shake. He wanted to cry. Bazooka pecked at him gingerly, worry in his eyes. Good heavens, said Mystica. What happened? Lucky shook his head. I don't know. It worked fine when I asked about the nearest planet. I could hear the stars singing. I was moving along the lines. I was flying and everything, but then when I asked about my father, I lost control. It threw me off the edge again. How perplexing, the Professor stroked his whiskers as it answered to your first question. It's surely not broken. Perhaps it is telling you that your father is off the edge of the map, but its map covers the whole galaxy. I do not understand. Nor I, said Mystica. Well, if two Star Talkers can't understand it, whatever can it mean? The Professor frowned at Lucky. We'll never know until you achieve full control, he said. You must practice this, and you must master it before we reach the space wall. For it is not only the astrolabe that you will need to master. If you cannot learn to control your power, it will flare up the first time you see a shadow guard at the wall, and you will give yourself away right there. Lucky hauled himself to his feet. I don't think I'm ever going to get it, he sighed. The Professor's eyes glittered. You have the principle, he said. All you need now is practice. Practice, maybe? Practice. Roman 6. The wolf is on the prowl. The Astraeus of war cannot defeat it, for it conquers every force. Will he master the astrolabe? I suspect so. Bye for now.